Good morning, HCG peeps. It's your girl MJ checking in for round 3 VLCD 58. And today I weighed in at 140.2, which is a .2 release. Yay! I'm getting there slowly but surely. Anyway, for lunch I got in a Quest bar. I think it was the coconut cashew flavor. It was good. And then for dinner, I had a shrimp and surimi salad. For snack, I got in my 5 strawberries. I had 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I went and picked up a cappuccino from Starbucks. And thus far, it's 11 o'clock, and I just came back from volunteering at my son's elementary school. They had their Dr. Seuss Day today, and yeah, and because the teacher knows that I'm a credentialed teacher, she often asks me, and yeah, little kids make me very nervous. That's not my crowd. So I'm having my cappuccino for breakfast. I'm not really hungry. Let's see. Oh, for those of you who are new to my channel, I tend to do this. I will share, info that I've learned or I've read, only as a way of putting it out there. I'm a firm believer, and they say it all the time, that information, is more meaningful when it is shared. It's more valuable when it is shared. Just like love. Anyway, let's see. This is for my girls out there who might be struggling on P3 or kind of scared of doing P3 only because we've been in the comfort of P2 and the restrictions of what we can and cannot eat. Well, with that said, I want to tell you that one, there's hope for us. We will beat this. We will beat this diet, deprivation, binge mentality that we've had for, again, I'm speaking for myself, for so many years. And there will come a time where this will no longer be a struggle for us. There will come a time where this is going to be natural and effortless for us. But in the process of getting there, we will stumble. We will doubt ourselves. We will put labels on ourselves like, I'm a food addict, or I'm whatever, right? And here's sort of the science behind all of this, is that 99.5% of all diets fail. 99.5. I mean, that is ridiculous. But the reason why all diets fail, and this, again, coming from the most recent book that I've read, Thin Genius by Josie Spinardi, How to Have Your Cake and Get Into Your Skinny Jeans Too. That's the title of the book. And I have done research on hunger-directed eating. I have done research on empowering questions. I am one of those people that I like to really use that analytical part of my brain. I pride myself for being able to read something and understand it and then to apply it into my own life. I think knowledge doesn't become wisdom until you can apply it to your life and it can enhance it in some way. So all diets, most diets fail. Only 0.5% of people who diet end up being successful at it. The majority of us will fail flat on our face, which means we will gain some of the weight, most of the weight, all of the weight, and then some in a span of 1 to 3 years. I didn't make those statistics. That's the statistics. They've done studies and research on this. And here's another thing. Deprivation and dieting is a surefire way to get yourself in a pickle. The minute you diet. Again, dieting and binging they just go hand in hand. Diet, binge, beat yourself up, diet, binge, beat yourself up. And the reason for that is because when you're given a list of things you can and cannot eat, normally when we're on a diet, it doesn't matter what diet it is, we're doing really, really well, and then something happens. We get into a fight with a boyfriend, we've had a long, exhausting day, we get invited to a party, it doesn't matter, and then we break it. And then because we break it, it's kind of like eating because I ate, which means, oh, I blew it, so I might as well go for it, then you end up binging. It becomes a binge. Instead of a one bite of something, it becomes like a whole spread of things that you have not allowed yourself to have for the past however many days. And then thereafter, because oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. I'm such a loser. I'm such a failure. You end up beating yourself up, right? And in order to get back on the horse, you tell yourself, okay, tomorrow I'm totally going to be super good and I'm going to be pop. And I'm just going to be really good. I'm going to restrict even more. And then it starts all over again. That's just what happens. So, in fact, they did a study on this where they recruited a bunch of college men, 19 to 21-year-old men. I want to say it was back in the 50s or 60s. And they put them in like a certain calorie limit where they gave them a list of food they can and cannot have. And I think they had to stay within like 1,200 calories a day, right? And within like the first 2 weeks of that study, what they found is, and this is really, really interesting, is those men who, incredibly smart, well-functioning, never had food obsessions or issues, all of a sudden, they found that those men are rationing their food. They are binging. They are hoarding. They are becoming obsessed with food to where they're constantly like looking at books of like food and all that. Sounds familiar? And then and some of the participants actually ended up quitting because the guys are like, oh my God, like I've never had this. What's going on with me? So that lets you know that the minute you deprive yourself of something happens to our psychology and physiology to where all of a sudden the very things we do not allow ourselves to have is the very things we want to have. Therefore, when we binge, we don't binge on Brussels sprouts. We binge, when it's full-on binge, we binge on the food we have not let ourselves eat for the past however many days. Well, anyway, so yeah, that's the diet binge mentality. And the problem with that is because, again, you are allowing something external to tell you how to function and be internally. So because you're doing that, what you're telling yourself is, and what you're telling your body is, I cannot trust you to make the right decisions. Therefore, I'm going to give you a list of food you can and cannot eat, because you cannot be trusted around food. And I don't know about you, but what you choose to focus on, you get more of. I mean, I watch my son all the time. I mean, I have a slew of snacks for them, and yet, like in the morning, he'll go, Mommy, can I have a smoothie? And the smoothie has yogurt, bananas, strawberries, and honey. And sometimes orange juice or milk or just water. And I'm like, and I have like cookies around, I have Danish around, I would make him like French toast if he asked for it, or eggs or whatever, but no. And then once he's done, he's like, I'm done. It doesn't matter how much more food he has on his plate. He knows, I trust that once I'm done, once I've had enough, I'm going to stop. He doesn't abuse food. He doesn't use food for anything other than to feed his body. Okay? We were once there. Somewhere along the way, we got really jacked up. And we got jacked up because we started having a dysfunctional relationship with food. Food became one of the ways in which we cope with the different stresses of life. It is. And then because of that, we then internally started to believe that there's something wrong with us. When the science states the minute you deprive yourself, you will end up wanting the very thing you have been depriving yourself of. And when you tell yourself you cannot be trusted, you experience more moments where you are right, you cannot be trusted around food. And this is why hunger-directed eating is going to be so uncomfortable for most of us. It will. It really will. It's uncomfortable for me, but I want to free myself of the struggle. I want officially to get this monkey off my back. And that's why when I get a little nutty about HCG, I have to just remind myself, like, dude, what do you want out of this? If you want to just drop weight, you can starve yourself and you'll probably get that. But if you really want to learn how to be different and have a different relationship with food, you have got to go in. You've got to go within. You've got to figure that out, and in the process of figuring that out, you have to find new ways of dealing with your emotions and the stresses of life. So this whole process, this whole round for me has really been about learning to trust myself again, learning to believe that at the end of the day, I am going to give myself exactly what I need. Because love dictates that I'm going to be loving and caring and patient and compassionate to myself. Fear, which is false expectations appearing real, fear dictates that I'm going to be nutty, I'm going to be controlling, I'm going to not trust myself, I'm going to berate myself with negative self-talk. And so I'm choosing to walk with love. And yes, this process is not going to be linear. This process is going to be up and down. Time is irrelevant to me. I'm going to get this together, one way or the other. And I'm going to fall flat on my face, because I will, and it's going to hurt like hell. But it's okay. It's totally okay. You're going to pick yourself up and you're going to get back on it. And you're going to continue to plug away until you get it right. I mean, I'm telling myself, I'm like a kid who's learning how to walk. Imagine if we told our kids, oh, honey, it's okay. You can stop. You don't have to try again. No, we don't. We let them fall. They cry, they fall, they get back up. And eventually, bingo, they know how to walk. That's us. We're learning how to walk. And when we fall and we cry, all we can do for each other is say, keep going. You got this. It's no big. All right. I think that's it for me today. It's really gloomy. Oh, before I leave.